This is an honour to speak out in Australia once again. This is my coming out. This year it hasn't really been defined as to where I can and I can't speak, and that's one of those questions. But it's also pretty awesome because this is the first time Belinda will be speaking at a conference, and I'll be sharing a stage with her. And I can't tell you that I'm not doing this by myself. We are a partnership, and we support each other, and it's an interesting journey. I don't know where the end point is, but we're on it. So is fruit good or bad for you? Well, as far as I can work out, I can actually give you this presentation today as long as you realise it is not specific individual nutritional advice. So we've been told forever about the benefits of fruit, and I'd like to question that. So just take it all with a pinch of salt. This is just an opinion, okay? I'm not going... Pardon? I'm not going to demonise fruit, but I'm certainly not going to glorify it. So it's fascinating when you look back and see how much propaganda is around the term fruit. And I should thank Zoe Harcombe here. We've chatted about this some time ago, and I've borrowed some of her thoughts, but she can't be held blame for everything here. Look, we're losing the battle against lifestyle-related disease. We're getting fatter and sicker because of what we eat. We're losing the war, and rapidly so. Obesity, diabetes, cardiovascular disease, dementia, cancer are crippling us as a society. The enemy in our battle is what we eat, not what we do or what we don't do. The enemy, I believe, is processed food, and I believe enemy number one is sugar, added sugar. And so where does fruit fit into that equation? I don't believe that fruit is nearly as good for you as we've been led to believe. I was raised in a time when you would have meat and 3 veg, and that fruit was a treat. So who put the term fruit and veg in the same sentence? When did that change? I propose that our recommended intake of fruit is one of the greatest marketing campaigns of the last few decades. The false advertising has been around not just in the last 30 years, but since the beginning of time. We continue to be fooled by nature and fooled by the food industry. So with the right information about food, and particularly fruit, you can make an informed choice. Is fruit your friend or foe? Let's explore that. So look, I went out on a food gathering mission recently, looking for some fruit. Now I found an orange in our backyard. Now, that's not a particularly good or great orange. It's not even very sweet, but that's all we could manage. I found nothing in the local apple orchard. I then made my way to my local supermarket. Okay, what a surprise to find all of the fruit advertised as local and fresh. So I wondered what unnatural processes our food industry have done to make that fruit. Maybe fruit is a processed food. So let me firstly define fruit for this talk. We'll call it modern fruit. I don't want to be comparing apples and oranges. And I don't want to be accused of cherry picking my data. I'm sorry. Okay. So I propose that modern fruit is far from natural. Modern fruit is the sweet fruit that we see at our supermarket every day. I'm not discussing fruit juices at any length today, nor unconventional fruit that are more like vegetables. Avocado, cucumber, tomatoes, even nuts can fall into the fruit category. So where does fruit fit into our history? Well, let's start at the beginning of time. Let's start with the original sin. What did God try and tell us about fruit? So, plucking that fruit off the tree turned us from immortal to mortal. That piece of fruit was advertised by the snake to be better for us than it actually was. So we continue to hear that advertising message. Fruit continues to be advertised as being better for us than it really is. So what does the fruit want from us? Fruit wants us as animals to spread its seed when it's ripe. Its survival depends on it. It advertises itself by bright colours, being shiny and sweet to attract the wildlife. Fruit hasn't yet worked out that we drop its seed in a ceramic toilet bowl. Have you noticed those chocolate wrappers? Advertising itself by bright colours, being shiny and sweet to attract the human wildlife. So what do we want as animals from the fruit? In nature we have scheduled obesity. Native animals wait for the sugar content to go up in the fruit. We know that possums will strip a tree bare in a night, 2 nights before we want to pluck it ourselves, and they'll turn that sugar into fat for winter. Scheduled obesity is there for us as animals at the time of plenty. It makes us hungry, makes us gorge on more fruit to turn it into fat for the lean winter months. Fruit is there in nature for scheduled obesity. It's perfectly natural to eat fruit in season to make us fat for winter. So a bit more history. In 1865, a letter on corpulence was written by William Banting. For the obese and those who are inclined to be so, avoid eating fruits of all kinds, fresh and preserved. Move ahead to 1948, Raymond Green's Management of Obesity chapter in the Practice of Endocrinology. Avoid carbohydrates. Well, that's a talk for another day. Avoid sugar. Avoid more sugar. And foods containing sugar, bananas and grapes, which would not have been locally available in England in 1948. So in the mid-20th century, we still had greengrocers selling us green vegetables all year round and only a bit of seasonal fruit. So when did we bump up our year-round supply of fruit? Early food guides recommended vegetables and small amounts of seasonal fruit, but no specific number. In 1992, the food pyramid was made up by the American Department of Agriculture, recommending 5 to 9 servings per day of fruit and vegetables. So where did that number come from? Strangely enough, it appears to have just been made up. Zoe Harcombe thinks the concept comes from 5 fingers. There's certainly no science behind it all. So in 1991, the American National Cancer Institute looked at small studies showing some benefit of fruit and veg in cancer prevention, and those studies were later shown to be related to socioeconomic benefit rather than fruit and vegetable intake. They then met up with about 40 major players in the food industry, and they decided to do a joint venture to promote fruit and vegetable intake to prevent cancer. The 5 a day fruit and vegetable number was just made up at that California meeting. The Produce for Better Health Foundation was formed, and off went the food industry with their marketing, fruit and veg to prevent cancer. It was well intentioned initially. In 2005, the foundation switched partnerships to the Centres for Disease Control and Prevention. Fruit and veggies were now deemed good for all health rather than just cancer. Unfortunately, there does not appear to have been actual research to support that decision. The initial group set up the Fruits and Veggies More Matters not-for-profit organisation in 1991 for the people. This group was formed to promote fruit and vegetable sales, and they are now proudly financed by more than 300 fruit and vegetable businesses, including Kellogg's, Nestle, PepsiCo, Monsanto, and the who's who of the food industry. So 1991, that's when we replaced meat and veg with fruit and veg. The food industry has conveniently taken over the marketing for the cancer institutes of the world and the Centres for Disease Control. And it's all to try and decrease cancer and poor health. So did that work? So here it is, 1991. The epic cancer and nutrition study of more than 400,000 Europeans was commenced. The results published in 2010, there was no conclusive evidence that fruit and vegetable intake at any amount did anything to cancer rates. In the last 45 years, we've actually increased our intake of fruit and vegetables, as we've been advised. However, our health has deteriorated in the same time frame. Again, obesity, diabetes, cardiovascular disease, dementia and cancer rates have all gone up. Modern disease is out of control. Now, I realise that causes are multifactorial, but certainly increasing our fruit intake hasn't solved anything. So in society there's an increasing awareness of the role of sugar in a wide variety of conditions. Modern disease is linked to our sugar consumption. How much added sugar should we be having? Well, the World Health Organization weighed in 2015, recommending limiting adults to about 5% of total energy. That's about 25 grams. That's 6 teaspoons of sugar for an adult male and less for women and children. Sugar is in most processed foods, and it's in those modern processed sweet fruits. Fruits have a mixture of glucose and fructose. Fructose has been called fruit sugar. That's the natural source. It's also a marketing term to naturalise it away from sugar connotations. Glucose and fructose have the same number of carbon, hydrogen and oxygen atoms, but a different configuration and certainly a different metabolism. So let's look at glucose quickly. Glucose is absorbed from the gut straight to the brain, to the muscle, under the influence of insulin. A little bit goes to glycogen, and any extra is stored as fat. There's only about 4 grams of glucose in the bloodstream at any point in time, and anything more than 1 teaspoon goes towards fat storage under the influence of insulin. What you do not use immediately gets stored as glycogen, but mostly as fat. Each slice of bread has about 5 teaspoons of glucose in it, of sugar in it, mostly glucose, and the excess is stored as fat. Well, each apple has about the same 5 teaspoons of sugar as a mix of glucose and fructose. Again, what we can't use immediately, the excess is stored as fat. The other half of sugar is fructose. Some of you may have seen my talks on this in the past, and this is an abbreviated bit on the metabolism, which was only described in 2010. So effectively the metabolism and the understanding of fructose is brand new. It's not in the textbooks, and therefore virtually all literature prior to 2010 is obsolete. And unfortunately most guidelines are being based on evidence that is obsolete. That's a huge problem. So fructose has a complex metabolism. This is an image of a liver cell. So we put fructose into the cell up in the top top left. Small amount gets converted to glycogen. Just like in a winery, fruit is made into alcohol. There's an aldehyde pathway that allows the liver to ferment the fructose. Too much fructose is associated with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease via excess fat storage. Fructose degradation ends up with the waste product of uric acid associated with gout, but more importantly, uric acid affects nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is critical to maintaining our circulation and health, and uric acid inhibits the production of nitric oxide. 3 forms of nitric oxide. There's a neuronal one which maintains our brain blood supply. There's an endothelial one which acts as a vasodilator on our blood vessels, and there's an inducible form which is involved in our white cell mobility around the body. Uric acid inhibits the effect of nitric oxide and decreases blood supply to the brain and is implicated in the causes of dementia and mental health. Without nitric oxide, we lose the vasodilatory effect and our blood pressure goes up. We can end up with decreased white cell function, poorer immunity, higher infection rates, and a possible role in cancer cell proliferation. Fructose is involved in the development of insulin resistance in muscle and the liver. It's a massive topic beyond this one today. Fructose also acts as a leptin inhibitor. Leptin is normally secreted by fat, and there's plenty on board, and there's an appetite suppressant. So fructose inhibits that satiety, contributing to hunger. It also stimulates ghrelin, which will make your tummy rumble, and all of this drives hunger. You heard a little bit about ghrelin earlier today. Probably a major pathway in inflammation is de novo lipogenesis, where fructose is converted into the bad cholesterol particles, and Ken will probably hammer me for that term again a little bit later. But it is the small, dense lipoproteins instead of the troublesome ones, and fructose is the major initiator of those. So when you increase the fructose load, you increase the small, dense lipoprotein production. Those small, dense particles end up in every blood vessel wall, in every organ of the body. They become oxidised and then inflamed, particularly under the effects of polyunsaturated oils. This creates inflammation throughout the body, and we know that chronic inflammation is a significant factor in all modern disease. So, back to modern fruit. but natural sugar from fruit is good for me. Really? Let's look at the nutritional aspects of fruit. So what is the actual nutrient value of fruit, and how does that compare to other seasonal food? So we're going to look at antioxidants, we'll look at vitamins, minerals, fibre, phytonutrients, and the sugar content itself. Antioxidants are there to decrease the effects of oxidation, to decrease inflammation. That's what the term means. So we can take antioxidants, or we could actually eat less sugar and polyunsaturated oil in the first place and prevent that oxidation. So fruits contain antioxidants, and they're certainly marketed as such. So you've got a choice. You can eat fruit, or you could have a cup of coffee, which has a significantly greater amount of antioxidant than fruit. That coffee is nearly 5 times as much antioxidant value. Or here's some good news for you. Dark chocolate comes in more effective at around the 2 millimole level. So it's also advertised that fruit is rich in vitamins. Gram for gram, the following foods have a greater concentration of vitamins than most fruits. Green leafy vegetables are rich in vitamin C, and spinach has about 5 times the vitamin C of an apple, and broccoli has about 20 times more. Vitamin A. Notice a theme of green vegetables creeping in. Fruit is not a great source of vitamin D, but those greens are there again. And the same goes with vitamin E, greens again, and avocado. Well, vitamin D, well, you're not going to find much in either fruit or vegetables. Vitamin K1, greens again. Vitamin K2, which is critical for calcium metabolism, and a lot of work being done on that now, is not found in fruits nor vegetables. We're told that fruit is rich in minerals. Well, gram for gram, the following foods have a greater concentration of minerals than most fruits. Calcium, notice those green leafy vegetables. Leafy greens are a good source of magnesium, as well as avocado. And potassium. To be fair, bananas do all right from potassium content, but spinach has 1.5 times the amount, and the others are close. Avocado again, and apples are very low. Iron, green leafy vegetables sneak in, not as much as meat, but they're certainly better than fruit. It's advertised that fruit is rich in fibre. We need fibre, don't we? And then again, that's a big topic in itself, and but I'm not allowed to talk about it. So it's another topic for another day. So gram for gram, these foods have a greater concentration of fibre than most fruits. Again, green leafy vegetables once again. Phytonutrients, well, it's an interesting topic, but nonetheless, we're supposed to have phytonutrients, mostly covered by vegetables and the green leafy ones. And there are certainly phytonutrients found in berries, but a word of warning, after 3 months of freezing, you tend to take away the phytonutrient benefit. Okay, sugar. Let's do some comparison. Coca-Cola has about 10% sugar content. It varies a bit from country to country. Apples are 10% sugar by weight. I'm sure the sugar will be absorbed slower, but it is still sugar. So the glycemic index may in fact be lower than Coca-Cola, but the glycemic load is still the same. Bananas are higher at around 12% sugar by weight and up to 21% depending on the ripeness. Avocado is down at 0.7%, strawberries at around 4.6%. And the fruit juices are the same as soft drink but without the fibre. Commercial dried fruit is just concentrated sugar and has the benefits of added chemicals. So what do I think about the majority of modern fruit at the supermarket today? Well, I think it's just confectionery on a tree. It is just sugar wrapped up in a shiny package. It is low in nutrient value, and there are far better alternatives around that are more seasonal but without the sugar. There are those unconventional fruits that are fine and some berries that are low in fructose. There's plenty of nutrition at the greengrocer, so we should be grabbing our green vegetables all year round and our local fruit seasonally. Our fruit is no longer natural, it's been manipulated. Increasing the sugar content acts as a great preservative, decreasing The fibre improves shelf life and transportability. Chemicals are used in agriculture from seed to harvest and beyond. All fruit entering Tasmania is fumigated with methyl bromide, a banned poison in many countries. Juicing fruit adds chemicals, drying fruit has added chemicals, and every step of the way something happens. All so we can indulge in a sweet hit all year round in a most unseasonable fashion. Look, I'm sorry to break the news. Fruit is not necessary every day. You can actually get away without having fruit most of the year. That's sort of what happened for most of the last 2 million years. Understand that the sugar in the fruit will make you hungry. Fruit is there in nature to help you gorge on more fruit and whatever other food is available at the same time. Sugar is linked with obesity and inflammation. It is linked with modern disease. So if you have the right information, you can make an informed choice. For me, it's about having my fruit fresh. It's about knowing that it will make me crave another piece of fruit. It will know that I'm having it from my environment. And it's about knowing that it will make me hungry for a few hours. But it's okay, that piece of fruit is just doing its job. It wants me to eat more to propagate its seed. And the food industry is just doing its job. It wants me to eat more to propagate its profit. So do I think that fruit is bad for you? Well, no, but fruit is clearly not as good as it's advertised to be. The advertising is the bit that's rotten, whether or not it's by Mother Nature or by the food industry. That apple with added chemicals was no good for Snow White. And maybe God was trying to tell us something. That piece of fruit hanging from the tree may seem irresistible in the short term, but there are long-term consequences when we do something we are not meant to. There are better alternatives to taking that confectionery off the tree. So when you are next in the fruit and veggie section, just remember, it's easier to fool people than to convince them they have been fooled. Thank you.